Oma Gyanam Timilandasya. Gyanam Janam Shalakaya. Shakshuru Meditam Gyanam. Tasmai Shigurave Namah. La naissance, c'est bien.
Birth is good, but birth is a very obscure word. No matter in which circumstance we are, the most important is in which way we love Krishna. And if truly we have love for him, so Krishna will come truly, like our friend. We will be able to feel in our heart different symptoms of separation who come finally by the association of Krishna. We say it's not a feeling of separation, but the feelings of separation, they come by remembrance. But Krishna, he loves so much his devotee that the devotee remembers Krishna by his mercy. Krishna comes in his heart to heal his heart. He reveals his sweetness, his fragrance, his beauty. He reveals how he keeps the cows. Krishna is so beautiful. And Vrindavan is the earth of the land of love. When Krishna keeps the cows, he has so many cows, millions of cows with his friends. And although this space is immense and it can become aggrandized or diminish, because Vrindavan is just like a lotus that expands itself or that diminishes for the needs of the pastimes of the Lord, Krishna seems everywhere, to be everywhere. And all living beings are really, they are in love with Krishna. Even the dust is in love with Krishna when it goes over him. The atheist cannot understand what this dust of Vrindavan represents. The dust of Vrindavan loves Krishna. When the dust goes on the body of Krishna, it's just like a lover. So because Krishna is the Supreme Lord, he can reciprocate with all living beings, even with the dust. And this dust, because it is bhakti personified, devotion personified, she takes a wonderful appearance on his body. So this dust, because of her devotion, because she loves him, so Krishna allows the dust to cover him, although he is more beautiful. This dust, it's full of different colors, and Krishna becomes covered completely, just like a beautiful flower. And naturally, this beauty that Krishna manifests for the pleasure of his devotee, it increases the beauty of Krishna and the love that the cows, the cowherd boys, they have for Krishna. And when this remembrance comes in the heart of a bhakta, it is very difficult for someone who has this remembrance to live in this world. It's extremely difficult. And naturally, why Krishna does this? Because Krishna, he wants that his devotee come back to him. So he comes in the heart of the devotee and he manifests Vrindavan, the forest. He manifests the space. And naturally, he gives his darshan to his devotee. And the devotee,
il devient en
he
séparation.
becomes in separation in this meeting. It is a union that is particular, the separation,
Parce que
because
comme le dévot
since the devotee
manifeste
his love for Krishna
et
and
sa
his
difficulté d'être
his
loin
difficulty to be far from him,
de lui. Alors Krishna
so
est
Krishna
proche de son dévot.
becomes very close to his devotee. It's a reality.
Il n'y a pas
There's
de chose plus
there's
élevée
nothing more
que
elevated
la séparation.
than separation.
Et naturellement,
And naturally,
plus un
the
dévot
more a devotee
va se sentir séparé
will
de Krishna,
feel separated from Krishna,
va venir
the
dans
more
sa vie.
Krishna will come in his life.
Et cette séparation
And this separation
est une
finally
grande fortune.
is a great fortune.
C'est la grande fortune d'un dévot.
It's the great fortune of a devotee.
Graduellement,
So
par la
gradually,
grâce de Vaishnava
by the grace of Vaishnavas
et par la grâce de Krishna,
and by the grace of Krishna,
alors le dévot
so the devotee gradually attains love of God.
Et
And finally,
qu'il puisse paraître
although
triste,
he may become really sad, he may look very sad,
parce qu'il y a une expérience
because there's
de temps
an
dans la
experience,
séparation.
there's experience of time in separation that is very
C'est
difficult.
que
It is
le
that
dévot
the
se
devotee,
languit
he languish,
de retrouver le Seigneur.
he's desiring so much to be with the Lord. But this separation, it increases time, and it makes every instant every moment to be longer. And it is in this suffering that the devotee experiences.
C'est comme un filet, en fait.
It's just like a net of sweetness and love.
Et Krishna, alors,
And Krishna
kidnappé.
becomes kidnapped by that net of love. He says, "Oh,
Ce dévot,
this devotee,
il pleure pour moi.
he cries for me.
Ce dévot,
This devotee,
il a tout abandonné.
he abandoned everything for me.
Tout,
Everything,
rien.
nothing else.
Il n'a plus rien.
He has nothing else.
Simplement, maintenant, il pleure pour moi.
And simply now he cries for me. How can I
Venir à lui.
come to him?"
Se sent complètement
Krishna is completely attracted.
Et alors,
And so
Krishna est prêt à tout faire
Krishna is ready to do everything to love his
pour
devotee,
sauver son dévot.
to save his
C'est
devotee
forcément
from this ocean
déchireux.
of
Finalement,
separation.
qu'est-ce
And
qu'il
finally,
fait?
what does Krishna tell him?
Il lui dit,
He tells him,
au frère,
"Oh, brother,
quelques instants,
Oui.
sois patient,
be patient. Only
être ensemble,
soon we will be together.
sois juste patient.
Just be patient a little bit more.
Ça sera pas
It won't be long."
juste.
Just a little bit.
Mais
But
en fait, là, ces mots de Krishna,
these words of Krishna,
bien qu'ils soient pleins de
although they are full of nectar and love,
elles créent un feu
they create a fire
dans le dévot, en fait.
in the devotee.
Quelques instants,
Because a few moments
les paroles de Krishna
with the words of Krishna, it seems intolerable to wait.
c'est le principe de l'amour de
This is the principle of love of God.
C'est pourquoi
This is why the gopis, Srimati Radharani, who are the most exalted devotees
et qui
and who
naturally
experience this feeling
au plus haut niveau,
to the highest level.
bien que Krishna leur
Although Krishna
qui va bientôt
will tells them that he will come back
ne
soon,
mettent pas fin
although they do not end their life.
ces paroles,
These words,
donc les bouleversent et les
it disturbs them and pierces their heart with feelings
brûlent finalement.
that are burning them, finally. They cannot die, but they are dying. They are really dying.
C'est impossible. de
Because it is impossible not to be with Krishna. It is impossible.
C'est juste l'effet de Maya.
It's just the effect, the influence of Maya, the illusory energy that makes the jiva
voilà, être heureux,
be happy.
de façon de parler.
It's a way of speaking, but
Se tourner, se détourner de Krishna.
to go away from Krishna. This is
La
why
compassion de
the
Vaishnava,
the compassion of the Vaishnava is something that is extremely difficult to understand, because these feelings they experience in their heart.
En fait, ils les projettent sur les êtres.
They project these feelings to their beings, living beings in this world sometimes, and they are feelings that are very powerful.
Ils peuvent atteindre le cœur des êtres.
They can attain the heart of the living beings,
C'est pourquoi
but this is why the association with the Vaishnava is the most important thing. Now, to speak about Ashvatthama,
dans ce divertissement,
in this pastime, because Ashvattham is a partial manifestation of Shiva, Shiva is considered to be the greatest of all Vaishnavas. So how can Ashvattham not be qualified? But Shiva has always crooked roles in Krishna's pastimes. And we see, with Ashvattham, he felt attacked, cornered, so he threw the Brahmastra weapon. And this is a mistake. When we feel attacked, we should not show anger. We should show the mercy of the Lord and abandon ourselves to Him. The more we are able to progress, the more Krishna will be taking care of us. He will take himself personally he will take out all the coverings. This is why we must truly decide to progress. Progress, it does not come from effort, a physical effort. It comes by mercy. Sometimes it's a special mercy people receive because of their previous lives, or because certain associates of the Lord, they come down in the material world, and these people, they do not have much to do to receive that mercy. Even if they do wrong things, they still receive that mercy. It is very particular. But in general, we must have to receive the mercy of a Vaishnava. Prahlad Maharaj taught that. He said that no one can deliver himself without putting dust from the Vaishnava all over his body. Because Vaishnavas are so dear to Krishna, and something inconceivable, how they are to Krishna. Krishna loves them really in a personal way, in a way that is so personal and so beautiful that they forget that Krishna is God. They cannot hear that Krishna is God. And it's difficult, because the test that a Vaishnava receives, when it's the Lord Narayan, it's okay, but, oh Lord Narayan, you're giving me a test. But when it's Radharani, when it's someone we know with our heart and we love, it's very difficult to understand. We see Gopakumar, when he was traveling in the universe in search of Gopal, he was always unhappy, always, no matter where he was. When only with Krishna he was. This is a real friend of Krishna. He can take pleasure in nothing, only in bhakti. He loves friendship. The friendship of Vaishnavas is something very deep. The love of Vaishnavas is something that is so deep and profound. And to receive the love of a Vaishnava, we must really, it's a special mercy. Why? There's no cause. Why? Why can the love of a Vaishnava put itself in the heart of someone? It's a mystery. Why did Shivananda Sen become attached to a dog? It's mystical. Because this is the nature of love of God to manifest itself in this way. Sometimes that mercy comes, or not always. And automatically, if the affection of Vaishnava comes in our heart toward us, even if we are not qualified, even if we don't understand anything, and that we're just like an animal, this mercy is there whether we want it or not. It will be obliged to touch us, because if a Vaishnava prays for us and he affectionates us, Krishna cannot stay insensitive. It's possible that Krishna says, but this person, it doesn't work with that person. I cannot bring that person back. It's possible Krishna says that. And the devotee, he cries. He says, but why can't bring her back? And this is the beauty of Vaishnavas. It's that Vaishnavas, when they love us, they will argue for us. They will argue with Krishna on our behalf. And this is something that is incredible, because Krishna is justice. With Krishna, you have no luck of going back to Braj, to Vrindavan, because you have to be a pure devotee. We must have attained prema. But if you love a Vaishnava, we don't speak about small love. It means a complete love, a devoted love. Krishna, he cannot. He is obliged to accept, to crack. His justice, in fact, becomes it disappears. Prabhupada explained this when he said, I will make you pass through the back door to go back to Godhead. It's because the Vaishnavas, they have a lot of means to make us enter into Vrindavan. But for Vaishnava to attach himself to us, what is possible and rare, we must have a special mercy. Receive a special mercy. When Shivananda Sen was attached to the dog, a dog, and the dog at one point, he was, before that, he had paid a boatman so that the dog could pass the river. The boatman did not want to. And then the dog, he lost himself at that time. And Shivananda Sen, it is explained, he searched for the dog everywhere. Can you believe it? The Mahabhagavat who is looking for a dog. It's a pastime that is really very revealing. Even Prabhupada, he said that Shivananda Sen had developed an attachment for the dog. And he said this was very beneficial for the dog. What happened? It happened that Mahaprabhu accepted the dog. When Shivananda Sen, he came to see Mahaprabhu in Jagannath Puri. He saw Mahaprabhu, he was making the dog chant, and he was giving him coconut pulp. And then he was making the dog chant Hare Krishna. And when Shivananda Sen saw this, when he saw the mercy that the dog obtained, then he offered him his obeisances to the dog. Can you believe it? He offered his obeisances to the dog. And this is something that is wonderful, because the Vaishnava is so elevated in love of God that love of God is something that intoxicates, that makes you lose all sense of religiosity. We become intoxicated and our nature cannot be controlled. This is love of God. A Vaishnava who has love for God, He cannot control his tears. He cannot control his body. He cannot control his feelings. It's too strong. And what do people say? That he is crazy, a madman. This is a symptom of love of God. People cannot understand him. And people think he became crazy. There's no reason. It is incoherent, the way he is acting. But all these things are contradictory. But although it is difficult to understand such a person, the association of such a person, there's something that we can have and that no one can obtain. It's prema. So, although a devotee is the source of prem, when someone receives in his company his mercy, so he thinks that the person who received it is more elevated than him. This is the nature of a Vaisnava. A Vaisnava, he considers truly the beings more elevated than him. This is the nature of a Vaishnava. When he hears someone, he says, "Oh, this person is teaching me. I don't feel qualified to be a guru," and that person does not feel qualified to be a guru. What is a Vaishnava? A Vaishnava is just a person who is a friend of Krishna. He wants to deliver people from the material attachment. He is a devotee of Radharani. It's just this. The dress, he doesn't care. He is not a sannyasi, nor this, nor that. He is completely delivered. And he finds this so stupid, these people who identify with an institution, a caste, and because of this, they make offenses toward others and do not develop love for God. They disconnect with this world. It's not this. Krishna, this is not his world. He's not interested. So, of course, certain people, they stay because of the institution, because it's the duty also of the spiritual master to tell his disciple to do this and that and this, and he does it. But he does not do it. He does it without doing it in reality. It's just like Prahlad Maharaj. It is explained when he was eating, when he was going to the bathroom, it was the Lord who was doing everything. He was simply absorbed in feelings. Don't believe Prabhupada left his feelings just to create temples. It's by his feelings that Krishna made everything happen. First of all, a Vaishnava, it's feelings. It's not calculated. And Krishna, when a Vaishnava receives an order from upstairs, from up there, Krishna will make sure that in time, place, and circumstance, make sure that everything happens. But never he will stop giving love to his devotee. So Krishna does everything. It's Krishna who accomplishes everything. Why? Because there is love. And if we accomplish a mission without this degree of love, what will be the benefit of this mission? You understand? It will not be Krishna. It will not be a manifestation of Krishna. It will be an appearance, simply. So that it makes us reflect a little bit more about all of this. Our goal is to develop love. It's not to distribute books. Our goal is to develop love. And after the books will distribute themselves. Because many devotees distributed books, but today they are not there. Why? Because the goal was not there. Our goal is love of God, to develop love of God. This is why we are doing activities. It is to please Krishna, please his devotee. Without this, it will not work. Everything will be finished. We will want a position in this world. I remember when I was a young devotee, in the marathon, book marathon, I was doing 150 books, sometimes 200 books, and devotees, they wanted to start eating from my plate, saying he's the super devotee, but it doesn't mean anything. The people, they sell good books, they have good scores, but they don't have love. You understand? But when I saw this, I became worried. I was thinking there's a problem. If it's about number of books, we calculate if a devotee is advanced, then I was shocked. I was young devotee. I was not even initiated at this time. I was Bhakta William. And we must be very careful. We must never let go of the quality of our chanting of the holy name for another activity. This is the quality of our chanting that will make our service deep. For example, if a devotee becomes full of love of God and he distributes books, people will be touched by the person. They will say, wow, the book has a value. And at this moment, a person becomes a devotee automatically, because it's the contact that makes the book having value also. It's a reality. Of course, the book in itself is Krishna because it's the Bhagavatam. It's the sun that wakes up in the age of Kali. So it is Krishna, of course. If a person touches the Srimad Bhagavatam, and she reads a phrase, in her next life she will have a human body, and she'll be able to start devotion. But if a devotee is qualified, the person, when she sees the devotee, she will think, wow, he's not an ordinary person. He's so radiant, so effulgent, so soft. He has lotus eyes. He spoke to me. I felt completely transported. And automatically, what will that person think? I would like to see that person again so much. And this person, naturally, she will start to inquire, and she will start devotion immediately, because a contact with a qualified Vaisnava is very powerful. Very powerful. Because our goal becomes infused in our heart. If we are in contact of a pure devotee, we want pure devotion. If we are in contact with a mixed devotee, we will become a religious man. We will look for recognition, the fruitive activity. But if we're in contact with a pure devotee, we have no choice. We have no choice. This is why this association is the most important. We must never leave the association of a pure devotee. It's the most precious thing. If we leave it, it's just like suicide, because we obtain other association, and that starts to dilute our devotion. Worst, we will not be able to maintain, we will leave. So, the association with Vaishnavas is the most important thing. So the Vaishnavas, they also want us to preach. It's true. If they give blessings to preach, although Krishna does the arrangement, yes, the association will be in the heart. Never the instructions of a Vaishnava are ignored by Krishna. Never. They are eternal. Even if you fall down, they stay. And at some point, this blessing will be accomplished. Because Krishna can never make the word of his devotee not real. Never. It's impossible. He will make it happen. Krishna can break his promise. For example, he did with Bhishma. Because he said he will not fight. And when Bhishma started to throw arrows in a powerful way to break his promise, even Arjuna, he was conquered because this is the power of love. Bhishma, he wanted to see the love that Krishna have for his devotees. So wonderful. This is why at this moment he was able to fight Arjuna. Because Arjuna, at another moment, he fought the whole army. But then he was facing Bhishma, and Bhishma wanted to fight with him because Bhishma had this desire, and it had to be accomplished. And then Krishna, he manifested himself like a lion to defend his devotee. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur was saying there was so much blood on the battlefield of Kurukshetra that there were like lakes of blood because there were so many dead bodies. And Krishna, when Krishna jumped from the chariot, it is explained that he fell into, not falling, but his feet fell on a little lake of blood, and his whole body became kind of blood, red like blood. And Bhishma also threw arrows on Krishna, arrows of love. And when Bhishma saw Krishna like this, running towards him with this wheel of a chariot, he started to pray, and he said, now I could see that my Lord is ready to even break his promise to protect his devotee. Can you believe this? It's so beautiful. But when Krishna makes Arjuna speak, he tells him that his word will never be conquered. It will always be real. It's like this. This is the principle of love. When there is love, it's very difficult to go straight on our path. It's very difficult because this is love. But we see in this material world, even the materialists, they are, of course, a reflection of pure love. When they love, they break all rules. This is the principle of love. And in transcendence, it is something that exists because Krishna himself, he broke his promise for love. If it exists in the Supreme Lord, it's because it exists everywhere. Even when it's perverted, this is the principle. Thank you very much.